What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to Chatham Tap and Fishers. We haven't done this in a while. For those of you who don't know who the hell we are the Permanent Relegation podcast. We record here like every other Tuesday. Might be every Tuesday. We don't know. We're starting the new season off tonight with probably the two biggest guests that we've ever had on our show to make it actually somewhat relevant.
Right. Well, one of them literally would not leave us alone about getting on the show, like constantly. It was like, God, when am I going to get on the show? I was like, look, I have more important people like, Janicki and Big Bald Assassin and his corn dogs. No, I'm just kidding. But one of them, I'm actually as honored as I am. The honor I feel of having these guests is instantly washed over by just a wave of lack of understanding of why they'd even take the time out of them. When we go through the pedigree of both of these, why they even take the time to do this, I just go, okay, yeah.
Ersal's got a scarf. This gentleman needs a scarf, by the way.
Oh, that's true. Oh, I guess we can do that.
There you go.
Here, officially.
There you go. Official Permanent Relegation scarf. Those are actually available off our website, permanentrelegation.com, for $20. Oh yes. So before we get the show started, we'll give that here in a second. We got to figure out who's on the show. But I am Andy. Chris over here to my left, my heterosexual life mate. But I would say I missed you, but we hang out all the time. So even though we haven't been on the air for like 6 months,
I'd like to miss you a little more.
Oh, okay. That's how it is.
Yep. Okay.
But we first want to thank Chatham Tap and Fishers. I am drinking a delicious, what is it, St. Joseph's Pale Ale?
Yep.
Coincidentally, you can get growler fills here at Chatham Tap and Fishers of St. Joseph's, a show we did in the off season as well.
Exactly. That was. Do you either one of you have you been down to St. Joe's downtown with Carl? Have you met Carl?
I've not met
Carl, man.
No.
Okay.
No, Carl. Carl's a good guy.
Carl is an interesting guy, old school German guy who. Man, he has got stories for if you think about your life experience and then just take that and just kind of toss it out the window. And this guy's got a story on top of stories on top of stories of where he's been. He's amazing. So if you get a chance,
we had our Christmas party there.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a cool place too.
Cool place.
Old church.
Yes. Very cool.
Eat it.
Just
Eat
get
the
in
microphone.
Just get in it. Yep. All right.
So for the first show of the new season, and obviously the Indy 11 season, preseason's going on right now. They're out in Arizona.
Yep.
But the first show of the new Permanent Relegation season is going to be with brand new Indy 11 president Jeff Belskus. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And Salvatore. What do you say, Salvatore?
Oh, from the ball 2 years ago?
Exactly. So
I don't think he remembers that.
I don't know what he's talking
So Jeff,
about.
if you don't know, so 2 years ago.
I thought whatever happened at that Ball State at that
Well,
it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
Right. So there was
it stays on YouTube at least.
Oh, okay. Well, there's still but you got me in trouble though. Now, so this is the only reason why I bring this up. I did deserve it. So we went to the gala, which again is coming up here shortly. We did a style of guerrilla style questioning, just random questions, like just off the top. And one of the ones I asked him was if he was in a witness protection program, what would be his name? And this guy didn't hesitate. He's like, Salvatore. I was like, Salvatore. He goes, I don't know. It's a good name. I like it. And then I asked him, I said, what's the one thing in your life that you would not share? Or you wouldn't share? For me, I'm not thinking real deep on this. I'm like, for me, it's Cheez-Its. Like, my daughters, my wife, they come to me and they want cheese. I'm like, you better stay away. He looks at me, he goes, my wife? And I went, oh, my God, I'm in trouble. I'm like, I'm sorry, babe, I love you. And he just kind of stares at me. So this guy.
I remember that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, my God. So, obviously, then, owner.
Not new owner.
No.
The owner.
The
Ersal
man.
Ozdemir. Now, the cool part about Ersal is that even though it's the first time on this show, we've talked to him before when, for some reason, Greg Rakestraw decided that we were a good fit to fill in for Soccer Saturday here.
With Josh Mason. Yep.
Yes. So, first time on the show, but second time actually having a conversation. And now we're unfiltered because we don't have sponsors.
So you're not counting the interview at the
Yeah.
Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay, so third time.
Yeah, but this is the official. You came here and we got you. You're in here now.
It took me 3 years to get on the show, man.
I told you
Come on.
he kept sending like, hey, can I get on? Can
It
I
was
get on?
email
I
after
know.
email.
I was like,
Had
God,
his
man.
assistant
right.
call us all the time too.
I was like, who is this Ersal guy? I'm spam filter.
Who do I
Done.
have to call?
Yeah.
Right.
Who's there?
Thanks to Jeff. I'm assuming I'm here because you guys wanted to have Jeff.
Yeah, the only
I'm
reason
just a-
Jeff would come on is that if Ursal was on, so
It
you were
was a
kind of
joint
by
package.
proxy.
It was a joint
That's
package.
what it took.
Right.
Good.
Joint package.
Whatever it takes.
Makes more sense.
Yep.
So
All right.
a lot to talk about. So let's kind of
Fire
get to it. And you actually had a couple questions lined up. So I'd like to hand the floor over to you.
Yeah.
And just kind of go for. Oh, and also if you have any questions and you're listening to us on YouTube, use the hashtag BYBcast. Ask your questions. We'll get them on. I know that there's some questions through Reddit that people want to ask too. So.
Yeah, so I mean, right off the bat, so we're approaching. It's now year 3. There's obviously been some changes, so I just kind of want to discuss. So, your vision here in year 3. Let's kind of. We don't want to relish in the past. We don't want to think about. We kind of want to move forward, take what we've done. But tell me, how have your first 2 years? So now you are 2 years in as owning a soccer team. Here we are.
Technically, kind of 3.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. But playing seasons, right? So tell us how you experienced the first 2 years and what you've kind of learned, maybe personally and on a business front, as much as you can. Obviously, you're going to have to be very political. We get it. But tell us personally what you've learned, what your experience has been, your first 2 seasons full.
Well, there's a lot, obviously. Starting any business, for those that have started businesses, it's a different, excitement, different challenges. When you add something like sports, obviously, I think it's very exciting. I love a lot of sports, but obviously soccer being my favorite sport.
Yeah.
Obviously, from going to renovate an existing venue to make the changes for us to have what we have and getting an organization in place and get everything basically in line to continue to grow.
Right.
So it's kind of good that we're not doing everything now. So we have done a lot of improvements. Right. Now the focus is obviously we're playing where we're playing until we get our new, our home, built. We'll continue work on that and hopefully we'll get that soon. But the biggest thing we're looking forward to is that on the season as on the field. So I'm really excited about this year. Okay. As we got a lot of new players.
That's what my question was going to be is let's talk about those changes in the organization because it really feels like now. I mean, we have some returning players, but in the same sentence, it's kind of like this feels like brand new all over again, right? I like the gear. This is good.
No,
I like that because I'm a tech guy.
My mom is calling from Germany, so that's why it's. I'll call her back. So
yeah, you tell her she's got to wait.
Oh my God.
She
Wait a minute.
Maybe she's listening in Germany.
Oh, she can.
I don't know.
She could be.
So she's calling you at 12 o'clock right now.
Like a good
It's
plug.
right. Yes, exactly right. So
Yeah, and your
she's
mom.
calling me, so I'm in trouble. So.
I was gonna say everything good because generally when you start getting
No,
calls,
she just called me an hour ago, and she said that we're trying to get her to come.
Oh.
She's gonna come on Sunday.
Oh, really?
So now I'm not sure why she's calling now, but
Okay. Well, see, now I feel bad because, like, hey,
That's all right.
It's okay.
That's all right.
It's just my mom from Germany at midnight. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal.
you guys are important. So
Oh, we're going to use that on the website. You guys are
Ersal
important.
says we're important.
Ersal said so.
And then he just shows it's just a gif of him rolling his eyes. Like,
I did not roll my eyes.
yeah, no. So
You will know when I'm rolling my eyes.
Oh, yeah. I put you
he doesn't
in your
have.
place.
I know.
I hope this is another show where the guests just put you in your place for the entire show.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's great. That's good stuff. So back to
That
the
must be a
changes.
challenge.
No, nothing that could do as bad as Rakestraw. Right?
Rakestraw did put you in
Yeah,
your place.
we went back and forth at it because he's just one of those where his deliveries. He's done
He
this
probably
so
doesn't
long.
like to be on the other side of Mike that he doesn't control. Probably
it's
right.
hard to put him on that side of the mic because he's
Right.
so good. His brain works so fast. And He's been
Right.
doing it so long. So again, kind of rounding back here.
Sorry, go ahead.
It kind of feels like a whole new thing again, like a whole new season. Obviously, we have from the top down, we have a little bit difference. Players, a lot of
Right.
difference. So tell us about that change, the direction and the change in the organization. What was this, as much as you can?
Yeah, I think, obviously, as a new startup team, right, it takes time to get it started up. We had a good first year, second year team. I wasn't involved with the players as much, so I was told we'll have a good team, and I think we had a lot of young players. I'm told now. I can see the difference that, and it takes time to build those players. And
Right.
This year with an experienced coach, I think we focused on more. He focused on more experienced players,
Okay.
because we're running out of time. We're looking for a team that is going to win in more than it's going to lose.
And what do you mean running? So when you say that, running out of time, in what way?
Well, I want to win championship.
Well, right. Outside of that,
You bought a team to get trophies,
That's right.
right. But on top of that, is there any other reason why would there be a time crunch where now it's
No,
more of a time?
I'm just impatient.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough.
We don't want to. It's realistic that my expectation was, it will be nice to win a championship every 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's not realistic. You can have the most expensive team, as you know, not just soccer.
It's called
but
Real
teams.
Madrid. I know how that goes. It hurts.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you win.
Right.
But we try to be somewhere in the middle, and it'll be reasonable and sustainable. But at the same time, we want a winning team every year, and we like to win championship every. 5 year will be a good year to do that. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But I think we have a good team that I feel good about it. That from the players that I see from their background together, we got Ottawa's 3 players.
Yeah.
We got some guys play together in different teams in the past,
Antonio
and
such, yeah.
we have some players that Coach Hackinson actually coached before, and
Yeah.
so I'm actually really as excited as the fans, because I don't know what to expect.
Okay.
So it's kind of a nice to not know that part of it, and so we'll look forward to seeing and we'll experience it together.
See, when you talk about that part with the players too, and we got some players that played together, I think one of the things as us as fans, and with this being this type of format, we're brutally honest and about stuff, is at a time, especially last year, it almost felt like a turnstile of players. It was just players were coming in, and then players are gone, and then it was another new player. And then you talk about one of the most successful things. It doesn't matter so much the money you throw in. And we see teams that have this issue. Man City, if you go big time,
Yep.
Man City, Real Madrid, they throw in tons of money. But the teams that do really well have the chemistry, right?
That's exactly
so
right.
you look at who's at the top of the BPL this year. A team where not a ton of money invested in. It's got some good players, but a chemistry. Barcelona, incredible chemistry.
Yep.
So is the point of
that had to hurt to say, though, didn't it?
no, because it's just true. It's always been that way. But my team has been that team that just throws money at every problem. And they expect that it works. When really it's if you can find that group. So you kind of feel, so you don't know what to expect. But it sounds to me like the excitement also comes from like you feel like you got a group of guys that can mesh well, personalities go together.
And I think I met most of them recently.
Okay.
I haven't spent a lot of time. We have great guys that we kept from last year. We had a lot of good guys
absolutely.
generally.
Yep.
But I think that we kept a lot of young, great guys. And
Yes.
some of guys that actually started last year could start, but hypothetically they might be actually, have to work hard for. So there's
Good.
a lot more competition for the same spots. I think, what we have done also off the field to what you mentioned about the chemistry is that 2 main improvements that, our players stayed in great places last year. Flirting Collins was a sponsor. They had access downtown and the home, the apartment Zero Depot and Anson, but they were spread out more in great places. But this year, we actually put them in Sophia Square, which is a building that I own.
Okay.
So
Over in
having them
over in
all
Carmel, right?
in Carmel and
Nice.
have them in one building, nice, they actually when they go to the pool, they're going to see each other. So they're going to spend a lot more time because we have obviously, a lot of foreign players and a lot of people out of state, and then that was really, I think we hope that they get to spend more time, and then to the training facility. We moved into a permanent building.
Okay.
in Grand Park. Grand Park has been a great.
Yes.
We practiced there, but we were on temporary buildings.
Yep.
We moved to the building that actually now there's a lounge a little bit so they can actually spend and with showers and all the good stuff. And we'll continue to improve that facility. We haven't told him, but we're going to get him a ping pong table, right? So we're going to keep him. Maybe
breaking news.
We want him to play. Spend some time
Dude,
together.
Dragon is going to be super excited about that. Just kidding.
Don't tell him yet. I hope they're not listening, but.
Dragon might be listening.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else.
Right. He's gonna be super, super excited about that. So if you had like what is it? A shuffleboard as well. That dude is a killer in shuffleboard.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Dragon. Oh my god. Yep.
Dragon's a
We're thinking about
fantastic
ping
shuffleboard.
pong. That's what the coach said.
No, I'm not. I'm not a shuffleboard champion. I'm no.
We want them to use their legs when they're playing ping pong, right?
Yeah, right.
Still, they'll be working out indirectly. So
There's an actual sport that I've seen, and you can look it up on YouTube, where they use a smaller soccer ball, but they're using a ping pong table, and they only hit it back and forth
With their head.
is that right? Oh wow.
And so
There you
it's like
go.
some popular sport in Europe, apparently. I don't know.
We're gonna create a tournament.
We should.
Yep.
The euchre tournament here, and
The
then
euchre tournament,
a whatever they call that.
What are the chances of getting you to the euchre tournament? So you heard about the euchre tournament last year, correct? So you got to say yes, because if
Yes.
you said no, because if you said no,
No,
then that
I
would
did, of
just
course.
kill this. Well, okay, moving on. So
I haven't heard about the
Okay,
euchre
so-
tournament.
But you know how to play euchre, correct?
I do.
of course,
Ersal,
Tara,
you?
Tara,
It's a
you
good
got
Hoosier.
to.
It's a
Yeah.
good Hoosier game.
Ersal, are you a euchre player?
Do you know how to play?
I used to be good, but
Okay.
I haven't played for a while since maybe before 4 kids. I would say.
Yeah. See,
It's like riding a bike. It's
See, but
okay.
we use it because of 3 kids. We use it on like a Friday night or whatever, just to get together with other couples that
That's
understand
good.
it and just play. So
Yeah.
we threw a euchre tournament here, had players, different parts of the
Staff.
staff and fans that got together, paired up together, and it was really, really good. And we did it for 2 like official, like really heavy championship belts, like
Oh,
like
wow.
almost WWE style championship belts, some gift cards to places as well as scarves. It was an incredible turnout. So we're gonna be hosting it again. Same deal with the belts.
Is that the black belt with
Yeah,
the big
that one,
medal?
yeah.
I know who had it at the tailgating. Who had that?
It might have been me.
No, somebody else.
Or did you let Peter Evans or Rhett
I
have
don't
it?
know. Retz might have been carrying it.
Andrew
Andrew
Retz
Retz, I
or-
think.
okay. Yeah.
I took a picture with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
And
Those things were having people got a hold of them like, oh my god, this is like 20 pounds. I'm like, it's official. So
I think Smiley actually. Smiley was in tailgating.
I hope not. Maybe it was a different one because there's no way I would have let Smiley have it.
There was one.
we're gonna leave it alone. We're gonna leave it alone. Smile.
Okay, quick story. Chris and Smiley are kind of mortal.
Not anymore. This was years ago. It didn't matter. We had one incident at a
Twitter,
place on the west
online
side.
social media beef that kind of went on a little bit too long.
It started
It's
at
all right.
a bar. Somebody was being obnoxious, and I just said it was my place. And it's like, you have your bar, right? You hang out. And it's like family. It's like your house. And somebody comes in, they decide to be a little obnoxious and rude, and you kind of tell them about themselves, and they think because they are who they are that they can do it. And you go, not in this place, you can't. So then you try to get me on a show to sabotage me, and I'm not falling for that. I'm sorry.
He's a good guy.
No, you know what? He is, and he does a ton around the city as well. I mean, organizations that he
Yes.
puts up is fantastic and
Yeah.
charity
It
wise.
might have been a different belt though.
Yes,
It might
I
have
don't think it
been
was
a
our belt. But no, we'll probably do another tournament this year too. So if you guys want to join in and play,
if you're good, man, I need
all
some
money,
new blood.
all money goes to charity too. So all
Jess,
My
I was
wife
just
is
lit
very
up.
good at it.
well, there you go. Bring her. Janicki was going to play with his wife, but she ended up getting sick.
Yep.
And so he had to call
It was
in.
the
We're
rings.
pregnant.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I think. I
it
think.
might have been.
I don't know.
No, but no, yeah, because I was in between the rings being pregnant again. So the rings, man, they were killing it. Right? Yeah. They were,
Yeah, Brad Ring and his wife were destroying everybody.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, they're really good.
Well, he's an
players.
IU guy, so
Yeah, of course.
Right, so
Of course, they know how to play.
They have a little bit experience.
I'm interested in seeing how many of the foreign players this year are going to go on road trips and learn how to play euchre, because apparently it's a big thing in the back of the bus that there's a clique of euchre players that get to sometimes you get invited into the game and sometimes you don't. And I know Woj for a long time was trying to get in that game and could never get in that game.
Yep.
And the only way he could play is by playing in the tournament here.
Yep, it's true. They told him if you want to play, you got to be at the table the first game.
Wow.
So,
Exactly.
So all right. So when we're talking about relationships and kind of bringing it back, so I'm interested to know the relationship dynamic here. So talked a little bit before the show
Between Jeff and Ersal.
between Jeff and Ersal, obviously. So tell me how that broke down. How did we end up where we are now? So part of that change in the organization is, we have a new president, general manager in Jeff. So how did this all come about? Where did this relationship kindle? The love.
I've known Jeff, his name, and I didn't, spend a lot of time with him, but I've known him and for a while, and I think we served on the State Chamber of Commerce board together, and He's well respected and business executive. So
Right.
it was really a common friend that I was talking to. Went to actually Columbus Crew game, the finals, the MLS finals, and we were talking about basically the position, basically bringing somebody that have more business experience, locally respected, well-known person, and he says, have you talked to Jeff? And I knew Jeff, but I said, I actually haven't talked to him, but I'd love to talk to him. And he set up, when we came back and reintroduced us, I should say, connected us, and we met, and it was wasn't really a no-brainer. And I think a week and a half, 2 weeks into it, and I said, when can you start? He says, it was a Thursday or Friday, and he says, how about Monday? And I said, sure.
He actually said yesterday. Start yesterday. And I said, well, give me till Monday, okay?
That was Friday. So I didn't do that.
And I don't know how much you can go into the behind the scenes type stuff, but also one of the things that you said is you never pictured yourself being in this position.
Well, the joke I made was, I was like, well, this is the most interesting retirement I've heard of, is retire and go run a soccer team. So tell me how that works. Yeah.
Well, who knows what twists and turns life has for you. And after a long career in racing and learned a lot about sports, again, Ersal and I reconnected, and I saw this opportunity. I was very intrigued by it, very enthusiastic about it. I told Chris before the show started that my friends from ESPN this past April said you ought to think about soccer when they were in town for the NCAA Final Four, and they said soccer is the fastest growing sport in the United States, and you should look at it. And at the time, I thought, really, I just didn't think a lot about soccer.
I know it's April, but is this a joke? Like, so okay.
And but I have a lot of respect for Ersal. I like what he's doing. I like what he's accomplished. Love his passion and his enthusiasm. Have a lot of respect for Peter and what Peter did while he was here, and admire that. And just it was just one of those. It just felt right. It felt like I can make a difference here. We can have some fun with this. We can grow this business.
Yeah.
Ersal mentioned, we're entering a different phase in our life. I mean, it was a startup, still is really a startup, but you're getting to year 3. You're kind of getting on with it.
Yep.
You're maturing,
It's time.
and you go through phases. And I think that the skill set that Peter brought to the table was the right skill set at the time.
Yeah.
And for where we find ourselves now, I think I can make a very significant contribution.
Can I just say he automatically has the look that he could be a manager literally in the BPL. You look at him like he throws a scarf on, instantly you're like, he's got the look down. Like he takes a photo, he's like, this is great. Yeah.
What could be the only American team is part of EPL, maybe?
Boom, we don't know.
There you go. Bye, Mark.
Bye, Mark.
You kind of mentioned filling Peter's shoes, and obviously the role that he had. You brought him on knowing that the impact that he could make here. What kind of, and this is kind of a weird subject to talk about, but what kind of criticisms from both of you guys, or towards both of you guys, that you got, whether you got for saying, hey, Jeff's going to be the new president, or that you got once you became the president? How are you dealing with any of those criticisms that have come your way? Because Peter Wilt is Peter Wilt, and you've got your huge line of accomplishments and everything like that too. But from a soccer world, when you've got the soccer diehards looking at you going, okay, what's he going to do?
Sure. Well, we love Peter, but I'm not Peter, and will never will be. It never try to be. I'm probably not the.
Go ahead, please.
The personality that Peter is. I'm probably a little dry. You're going to come to find out compared to Peter.
That's okay.
And but
so you haven't been on a challenge to eat as many different meats as possible in the entire year. Okay.
That's you got it. Okay.
Yep.
But having said that, I bring a different skill set to the table, and I am my own man, and we're going to shape this and mold this going forward. And as I said, I admire what Peter accomplished, and will never try to be Peter, never can be Peter.
Right.
Yet on the other hand, believe that we can be successful with this franchise, and we can make Indy 11 great, and it is great, and we can keep it great, and improve on it in a lot of ways. So I'm just very excited about it.
When you were talking about in April that some of your ESPN friends were like, you should look at soccer. A lot of Americans, and you kind of get to that point. Now it's that point where, when the women's national team is winning World Cups and the men's national team is doing well, soccer is more and more important and more popular.
The MLS deal. I mean, the fact that now, even 3 years ago, you wouldn't have the largest spots. So the MLS season is getting ready to start again, and they go, Sundays are for, what do we know in the United States? Sundays are for what? It's for football, right? Well, now, yeah, football season's over, but the fact that ESPN has a giant spot, which is Sundays are for a major spot that's run at every single commercial break talking about MLS. So yeah, and to that regard, I think it's a massive change. So
what was your initial thought though when some of your friends were like, maybe you should think about soccer? Was it like, okay, I don't know where I'm going to go with that, but sure, okay, thanks.
Well, no. I have a lot of respect for these fellows. It was, part of the executive leadership team at ESPN, and they know what they're talking about. If for them to sit there and say that soccer is the only major sport growing in the United States, just impressed the heck out of me. And I thought, that got my attention. As
it should.
Yeah. And they're investing a lot of money in soccer. You're exactly right. And the folks at ESPN don't do things like that unless they believe that it has a bright future.
Yeah, and I want to. Here's the deal. It may not be known in the soccer world, but let's not discredit dealing with the organization that you dealt with, and you start with the home and company in general, it's a Indiana staple, the name, right? And you get into the fact of IMS and dealing with that, and for a temporary time with IRL, the racing league. You're not a noob, if you will, to the millennials here. You're not a noob when it comes to dealing with sports organizations and the pressure and the impact that is necessary to make it successful, and having to deal with the bureaucracy at times, the bullshit at times, and just having to deal with the day-to-day grind of dealing with top-end people and personalities. So if for those that don't know and haven't done their Wikipedia research, if you will, give us a little bit of background about that. I mean, give us who you are. You said you're your own man. I think people need to understand that you do have an incredible pedigree with sports in general.
Sure. I retired in 2015 after a 27-year career with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway mostly, but its affiliates as well, Hallman and Company, the IndyCar Series, IMS. In 2008-9 was named president and CEO of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. At one point did a stint as president and CEO of Hallman and Company, a CEO of the IndyCar Series. It's sports. It's professional sports, and it's big time professional sports.
Drivers a lot like soccer players are small people with giant egos. So
car owners are a lot like soccer club owners as well.
All right, well there you go. See?
More good looking though.
Well, wait a minute. I've seen some of those car drivers. I don't know, man.
I'm talking about
the car owners. He's got a point there.
Have you seen Ray Hall? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, soccer players are a lot more good looking than.
I don't know. Alex Tagliani would tell you different.
Tagliani's, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Going to commercials. Sophia Square, when we opened it, May 2nd of 2011.
Yeah.
He was our second person moved in. They used to live actually there until
they just went back to Canada. Actually, it was a long time customer of mine, him and Bronte. Yeah, they go. Yeah, absolutely. Funny story, actually. I was just coming back from San Diego on a trip, and I get laid over. Who doesn't get laid over in O'Hare because of delays? If you've gone there almost every time, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm heading back, and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm like 5 hours into this. And I get somebody who yells my name, and I look over, and it's Bronte, and I'm going, what are you doing here? She goes, I'm heading back to Indy for one day to do this because, we moved back to Canada. I'm like, right. So it's kind of funny, that relationship. And so we were talking earlier that because of the company I work for, we are direct sponsors for for Indy. So it was just kind of funny, this whole relationship as you go through, and you're like, oh, Alex was my second person.
Well, actually, I take credit for he won the pole actually that year.
Yeah.
So he moved in 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
later.
It's because
he
he was
won the
so.
pole.
It's because he was so comfortable, right?
Right.
I mean, I take credit for that.
You should.
Because of Sophia Square.
Take credit for anything you want to. Why not?
I do, because I don't think this is there was the first and last time he won the pole.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
If you want to be successful, live in Sophia Square.
Right.
I agree.
And Chris, the company you work for is a crossover, but you have Honda on your shirt.
Yes.
Honda is an engine manufacturer in the IndyCar series.
That's
and
true.
Yep,
Yes.
that's-
Yeah.
There's
Everything's
a lot of
connected.
crossovers here.
It is,
Everything's
man.
connected.
I mean, yes, basic stuff of sports, right? Even baseball, basketball, there's basic stuff applies the same, right? You have the fence, which is the most important part, and you have to provide a great experience.
Yes.
So racing is different in the product wise, but overall, I look at this more as an experience.
Right.
So why do people want to leave their homes on a Saturday, typically every other week, get in a car, drive downtown, and if they don't live downtown already, and go to a game instead of doing something else? That's why our goal is to provide a great experience. And other NBA does the same thing, and NFL does the same thing, and racing does the same thing. So it's all about experience and selling. Obviously tickets, sponsorships, food, good food, beverage. Good, safe environment. So
I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, one of the questions that actually, and you were mentioning fan experience, one of the questions on Reddit was actually from Aaron Gunyon, who writes for Bloody Shambles, but he had a talk with you about how you were talking about how you wanted to kind of keep attendance or boost attendance for this year. What kind of things do you guys have planned? And this could be a question for both of you. Obviously, last year still had some pretty solid ticket sales from the initial year to last year, and then going forward to this year. What kind of things are planned? What promotions are planned? If you can talk about those, how are ticket sales going right now? What kind of light can you shed on that?
So ticket sales are flat, I'd say, at this point, year over year. We're like everyone else. We'd like to sell more. You always want to sell more, and you always think you can sell more, and we know we can sell more. We continue with reaching out to soccer groups, soccer clubs. We think are very important attendance potential in terms of group attendance. Season tickets are very important to us. We continue to sell a good number of season tickets. The at-game entertainment, we're working on halftime sort of shows that shows at the break that
more frisbee dogs.
More frisbee
Everybody
dogs.
loves the frisbee dogs.
Yeah. And
It's true though. The BYB section, when the frisbee dog goes out there, goes.
I have some actual amazing photos of the frisbee dog. I remember I posted the one which was Janicki and Corey together, and then it was the frisbee dog. I'm like, who got higher? Was those two? It was the same game, and they have this really weird one where they're together, and Corey looks completely frightened. Janicki's like right there with him as a header, but then at halftime was the frisbee dog, who was just like levitating with the crowd. So yeah, frisbee dogs and corn dogs.
And that was one of the first promotions we signed, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you heard it here. Frisbee dogs.
More frisbee dogs.
More frisbee dogs.
And more corn dogs. Probably.
Corn dogs. Yeah. I mean, it's not Indiana without corn dogs or just some
it's
type
not
of fatty
Indiana.
food. Yeah.
I don't know what it is about corn dogs. I don't know if you've experienced the love of corn dogs, especially from the slaughterhouse guys. But corn dogs are a big deal when it comes to Indy 11.
No, but I'm a corn dog fan. So
Well, and a tenderloin guy, I assume,
and a
right?
tenderloin
Yes. There
guy.
you go.
Yeah.
You need like tenderloin.
You're all good? No?
it's not coming now because I didn't take the call 5 times.
What? Wait a minute.
Not
What's
coming.
the 1 hour difference? I mean, like, okay, an hour ago you were gonna come, now you're not.
She's
Like,
70-some years old.
all right, fair
so-
enough. I'm just saying.
So another question from Twitter this time.
Ooh.
This is from the Fishers contingent of the Brickyard Battalion. Could be a question for both of you guys. Obviously you're the new president.
Yep.
Kind of leaves a opening for GM. Is there or when can we expect a new GM being named?
Well, that's it's still a work in process, and as we evolve, as we try to sort out what our needs are, we continue to think about that position. I'm clearly not the soccer guy, and so we need someone in that role that whether it be a general manager or a technical director or who can provide that sort of assistance to our organization is very much needed. And our thought is let's get going this season. Let's see how the season goes. Let's see what sort of needs evolve, and let's try to structure the job to fit what we think going forward that we'll need.
So we pull local. I say we pull from Carmel, and we pull Frank Dixon from Carmel.
well, technically, Peter, not technically, legally, Peter is still an employee and still
That's true.
And obviously, we are finished with our new players.
Yep.
I mean, we might add one if we find an exceptional person, but they are set for the season, and they'll revisit in the break maybe, and might be able to. Depends on what the needs are. So the direct need is not there. And about the earlier question you were asking about, the title of president GM. That's what most people do, and that's how we started it.
Right.
But it's very difficult to have somebody to know soccer and old agents and stuff like that, and then also run a business.
Yeah.
It's too much. I mean, it really, even in hypothetical, doesn't make even sense.
Sure.
So, because somebody needs to, business of running a business is a full-time job. And, and then at the same time, try to negotiate players, find players, watch players. It just doesn't do. So that's why I think, as Jeff mentioned, focusing on running the business, and then also finding somebody, and then you're actually getting people that are good at both, right?
Right.
And not a lot of people are very good at doing everything together.
Yeah.
So we
It's
will find the
overwhelming.
right person.
Yeah.
But the urgency isn't there. Peter is obviously still involved and available, and we need it. But we're not really looking to add more players, and we'll visit. And we have had a lot of people who have reached out to be the GM and whatever the title is, and we'll revisit this. When the season goes on, we'll probably do something before the season is over. But we don't really have an urgency since Peter is still available for us as the GM. So,
and that's one of the things too that some people don't really know is that the role of a president and GM being the same person was kind of an anomaly. Most teams have that separate because, like you said, that president job is a full-time job. The GM job is a full-time job. Sometimes I guess the coach acts kind of a GM. I mean, how much influence and feedback does Hankinson have for a lot of these new players? And like
100%. I mean, you don't hire a player, the coach. I mean, the difference is really, you won't hire a player without a coach blessing it. So the GM doesn't really hire. I mean, GM in the book is an extra person to find players and negotiate the players. So typically, the GM will work with the coach. Coach will have players that actually they want. They'll say, "Hey, I want that player," and based on their budget, go for it. So the GM reaches out and negotiates it. And GM is another person, the resource. Also, there are a lot of people that reach out to GM and say, "Hire a player." So one more person basically reaching out and offering players, but you don't sign a player without having a discussion with the coach and him blessing, because you can't say hire this and coach says no, and then what kind of a team would that be? So that doesn't make sense.
Go for it.
So in regard then, how important was it for you to keep it? With Regan stepping in last year and taking over second half of the season, that how important was it for you to keep him on board and kind of and roll through? What was the thought
Very
process?
important. I think he's an amazing person.
Okay.
Because he really did the best he could in what given. He is the quality that will be head coach sometime soon. He worked hard with very limited, because he took him in the middle of it and he played with the players that he had with, and we would have loved to have a better result, but I think for him to stay with a very experienced coach, and I think there is a good component because he will also work with a more experienced coach, that has been doing this for a long time. Hopefully it's a combination, but for him to stay, he knows where the bathrooms are. We go to, this, and I mean, he knows to deal with help, and he really was important. And both teams talked before we did the official, basically the deal, and they felt good about it. And so I really appreciate for Reagan to stay on board, because right or wrong, you're ready or not, when you're all interim head coach, there's a psychological barrier that people with egos, they think they should be the head coach, and if you don't, they might leave. But he has he's smart, and he has the team spirit to know that, hey, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. Right. So I had respect for him before, but I have even much more respect to him for him to stay and help the team to get there.
And there's no doubt. I mean, he's the players' coach. Players respect him. He's a guy who understands because of playing. He gets it, and he's fiery. And he doesn't. And when talking with him, and you kind of see, he doesn't really take a lot of crap. I mean, it's one of those. You have excuses, that's not going to fly. It's one of those, but he gets it. He understands.
He did get thrown out of a game one time.
That's true. Right. I was there behind him.
Right. So you may not be proud.
We have cleverness in coaching. He can't speak English. Right. I felt like I need to go down because.
And all of a sudden, Ersal is on the field.
Ersal takes his tie off, but he's now on the field.
And he's yelling.
I was right behind him.
5 minutes later, Ersal's yelling at the ref. No. So stepping in. So what is your? You've obviously met everybody. How has this transition been for you? Kind of, the face to face and going. Yep, here I am with the players.
It's been an amazing transition. I so appreciate how welcoming everyone has been, and the professional group that we've put together, Ersal's put together. Tim Hankinson is a pleasure to work with. He's just a fabulous guy. I agree with. I of course wasn't around last season to see Tim Regan spin as interim, but. He's impressed the heck out of me with he's just really a class act and a first class person. So it's been also good meeting the players, getting to know the players. It's they seem like a good group of guys. It's just been amazing. I've been spending practically every morning, every day, and every meal I have, I've been having with sponsors, with employees, with others that prospects that other. This morning I met with Dave Guthrie, Indiana Soccer. Other stakeholders in soccer, if you will, and while they're not, Dave's not directly involved with the India 11 in terms of a management role. Right. He's a very important person in our life, but they've just been so welcoming that I've really appreciated it.
One more business question, and then we'll do some stadium talk. But
which is your favorite?
I gotta go. I think my wife is waiting for it.
Quick. Okay.
I'm joking.
No, I saw that look at me. I'm like, oh no, sir.
No, you're not leaving.
No.
I'll call your wife for you and say he's staying a little
longer.
Good
luck, buddy. You're done because.
So a question from Twitter was, how will Under Armour? So Under Armour is the new sponsor for the ball and has its hand in some NASL stuff. How is that going to play a part in NASL? And are they putting any money into the league? And how will that trickle down? Will that trickle down to teams? It could be simple.
Under Armour is new in soccer.
Yeah.
But that's again, like Jeff said, ESPN is invested a lot in this. So Fox Soccer, obviously, BN and Gold TV. I mean, there's
CBS
Sports, amazing. So it was really amazing. It's an amazing bowl, good-looking bowl, but it's also a significantly step up. And this is they're invested in basically NASL with the soccer bowl because we get these bowls, and and I think it was a good start. Our Diadora sponsorship comes up end of this year, and we'll revisit basically what's available, what makes sense.
Now, is that their option or is that our option?
Our option.
Well, Chris has some thoughts about that.
Well, no.
You would like either a large or an extra large, and the alternates from last year.
The alternates. I just want the official alternates.
So we got New Jerseys. They unfortunately. I hate to say it, but Diadora is an Italian company, right?
Yeah, they're amazing overseas.
They're Serie A, and unfortunately, their manufacturing was in Canada.
Okay.
So everybody else, including Nike's and Adidas, they're making China, right?
Yeah.
So we're studying it out. One of the things when we're smaller, newer, you're going with somebody Italian brand.
Sure.
Sounds great because I knew the other when I grew up.
Yeah.
And they're the Syria,
Yep.
official kit provider. So,
Yep.
and making in Canada seemed a lot nicer and sounds good than making in China.
Right.
And easier with obligating, but they had some issues with their, manufacturer, and they fixed it.
Okay.
So our contract goes through this year, and we will revisit basically because we need to make sure that as where we are now, and we're providing the best quality and options to our fans. It was a 3-year agreement that ends at end of this year. So
is there a new alternate already created?
An alternate.
well,
jersey?
just to be very frank, no and yes. There should have been one because our jerseys got delayed so much with the alternate.
Right.
Unfortunately, that alternates are almost new because there wasn't a lot of them available. So it was really frustrating. So we are going to look for an alternate jersey. It's going to be normally would have been now.
Okay.
But we just got alternate jerseys.
So those are going to be the new news, but the alternate will be a new
so
alternate.
The timing to be
I got
TBD.
it. So yesterday is today, but tomorrow is today. When today was tomorrow. Got
I'm
it.
gonna do one of. I'm not joking about Donald Trump. I'm gonna do one of Donald Trump jokes.
Okay.
It's okay. Well, I don't know what it looks like, but it's gonna be huge.
It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge.
We got a huge.
It's gonna be huge.
We have the best marketing team in the country. So whatever they come up with, I think it's gonna be very, attractive and very exciting and very smooth. So
For the size,
New.
this brought up another question before I do the brick thing. For the size of the front office, and this is more of a question for you because you've dealt with the front office, obviously.
You mean the MLS quality on NASL budget?
I mean, that's true. That's John Kaluder saying it's MLS quality on an ASL budget. For the size of the front office of the Indy 11 team, I would say our team, but his team.
our team.
Our team.
Our
Yeah,
team.
it's our
I will
team.
not be. I won't be here if you guys didn't go to the game. There's no question about
So for
that.
for our team, the front office is hands down the best front
I think
office that I've ever seen. Like in terms of how smooth everything runs, the promotions, everybody knows the roles, but do multiple roles and things like that. What was your impression when you first got in and involved with the front office staff in the 11, and how do you think?
Plot twist. No plot twist. He goes, we actually fired them all.
Yeah, no.
I'm just kidding.
What is 11? I worked there.
Yeah, what?
No, they're an amazing group. I agree with you. They
still in support. Obviously, the mayor
Yeah.
Ballard was there
Right.
and spoke for the bill.
Right.
But obviously, it's respectful. We want the city to be involved.
Right.
The mayor Huckstad get into the office
Right.
in January, first week of January.
Yep.
The CI board members weren't even appointed till late January, so
Right.
it's just we were out of time to do that. But we didn't just do nothing. We had very good discussions with the Senate and House of Representatives, and
Yeah.
get ready for next year,
Okay.
the longer session when we have it. I'm being sincere. There is obviously no guarantees, but having around one more year, I don't really know anybody. I don't meet anybody that says we shouldn't get a stadium. There's no question about. Everybody thinks we should have a stadium. You know, we want it downtown. People from various parts of the Marion County, from up in the west side, close to the west side, east side, to as well as surrounding airport to the surrounding cities, suburbs, wanting us to consider to build there. We think
Right.
the best thing, we have a very unique downtown.
Yeah.
We are probably the only city with so many sports venues close to the convention center,
Absolutely.
with the bars and restaurants and hotels, which is very attractive to host conventions and
Yeah,
events.
or baseball, football, and basketball.
Yeah,
within
and
less
adding
than
the
a mile.
professional
Yep.
soccer stadium that is multi-purpose.
Yep.
You know, possible women's concerts, NCAA games for mid-sized events.
Right.
It just makes us very special that there will be nobody in the country will have what we have as downtown. So
Yeah.
we think the right thing for the city and state to be downtown. And we've had other obvious people put stadiums because somebody offered a free stadium in somewhere else.
Yes.
And they built them because it made sense.
Yep.
And they regret it in 10 years later. So if it takes another year, so be it.
Right.
We want it downtown. We want it to be walkable to the restaurants and bars. And
Right.
But not only that, we want it to be able to create a kind of additional economic development, additional jobs, not in the venue itself, but around it, to have impact in the surrounding parts of it. So there's no guarantees, but I feel really good for next year. I think we've done everything we were told, and we've been very receptive, and
Yeah.
we'll go back and we hope to get something done hopefully next year.
I have to appreciate the resolve, and I think what you said earlier too, when you talk about this is a season where we have to have success. I think obviously success breeds excitement. It breeds more involvement, and it's a little easier to go to places and you go, look, we have a successful team. We're not a middling organization that's just kind of burning cash. We are an organization that we've kind of streamlined. We have incredible business savvy, and we're really working at that. But then we're also putting an incredible product, because obviously we have the fan base. We know that. We've seen that, right? That the passion's there.
10,000 a night.
Right.
Doesn't happen anywhere else.
Good luck in ASL competing with that outside of
Or even
right, New York,
MLS
right.
teams. A lot of MLS
Absolutely.
don't get that
Right.
every night.
What were we? I think in a list I saw of MLS and NASL teams, I think we were ranked 12th.
Something
So
like
there was
that.
a lot of MLS teams, and then
Columbus
us,
Crew.
and then more
Yeah.
MLS
Right.
And
teams.
our tickets
Yeah.
prices are
Right.
similar to their prices.
Right. Yeah. So I think the fact, hearing you, even though, right, it's not going to be on the table this year, I think hearing that, listen, whether it was this year, I think it gives fans a little bit of a breath to know this isn't just like a look. If we don't get success, we don't get a stadium with them, whatever, I'm out, I'm done. But this is, we'll move on. We'll try something a little different. It shows a long-term vision, which, and not saying that you don't have that, but you have fan that does this think. And we know, and you've been in Indianapolis for a long time, Indianapolis fans are fickle. Like, think about this. Like, when the Pacers went through a stretch, and the Colts even have 1 year where we have Manning injured, it's ticket sales, and it's so crazy. I love the resolve, and it shows that, listen, no, I'm devoted. I'm here. I'm not only just bankroll, but I am putting everything and every component and cog in place that is going to be successful. And I think the continual kind of tweaking of that to a point where you feel, this is going to be a good year, and you bring people in.
No, I mean, I think in the long term, I had an opportunity to buy MLS team right before this.
Right.
But why would I want to? I love soccer. I grew up playing with it, high school, college, right? But there's no point owning a team for me in another town.
Yeah.
Because I live here. This is my hometown.
Right.
And if it's not here, it doesn't make sense. Well, are there other cities will be happy to have us? Sure, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give me the the long-term basically goal. What are we trying to do here? Is obviously we love soccer. We wanted to be. We are a great sports town. Soccer is not new anymore, but we don't want to stay behind. We didn't do this.
Yeah.
And all the leagues expanded eventually. Then you have to relocate and becomes more difficult. It is difficult to try to move an NFL team here if we didn't have Colts.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have them. Try to move Pacers if we didn't have a Pacers team, right?
Yeah.
It's almost impossible because you have to have a venue first. Plus, you're talking about $800 billion to move these things.
Yeah.
And it's just not sustainable for a smaller town like that to do.
Right.
So we're lucky to have these teams here because these owners decided to bring them here in early 80s, 83, 84, basically, to do that. We just can't do this. So we have to get involved earlier. We are losing money. We will lose money. But to build in the long term to do it, so in 20, 30 years, we can all say, you know what, I'm glad we did what we did.
Right.
We didn't stay behind other cities that actually invested in these because there's now 20 cities have stadiums.
That's true.
It's not a new thing, but it's not happening just Indianapolis. So
yeah, what's funny is Peter Evans and I'm sure you know Peter Evans, right? So when we sat last year and we're having a couple drinks and we're talking about that, like what's the legacy going to be of Indy 11? Like if you think year 2, think down the line, what would you think? And he's like, well, I know I'm not going to be around doing this forever. He goes, I like to think that this team, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to look back on this. And it's funny because you say 20, 30 years and you look back and go, we're there as pioneers, like what we created. And you guys are doing a very individual part, and it's just as important, more important than what we're doing. But we're gonna all sit back and we'll look at it and go, man, the struggle was real up front, right? We're dealing with kind of sometimes some backwards, kind of old world type of government. We're dealing with some ideals that don't necessarily make sense, and we're dealing with a small market, but we persevered through. And I think I love the fact that your vision and talking with you in that passion, and you mentioned it as well. Right. And I'm really, really excited myself.
But not to take anybody, because I mean, 50% of our season tickets are ages 18 to 34, right?
Right.
So 75 is under 44 years old. So a lot of the civic and corporate leaders did not grow up with this.
Right.
So yeah, logically it's okay. I mean, just because they don't get it, they don't have the see passion. But obviously, we don't have to support everything that we love, because if this is real, it's happening regardless. Indianapolis joins on the team or not. So it's different when you're the next governor and you're the next mayor. We come back in 20 years. He goes, why is just only 20,000 seats? Why is it not 40,000 seats?
Right.
Because your kids are going to be already grown up with that.
Yep.
It's just that generation will change. So millennials and youth, we have an amazing connection.
Right.
And Hispanics by default.
Yep.
But as they become more, have ownership with the city, they feel more connected.
Yep.
That's another thing I think we can do with the Hispanics, that they work hard, they take care of their families.
The Morelia game was incredible.
Yeah,
it was
that's the purpose.
It didn't mean anything.
But we want them to feel part of the city. Right. So they work, they hard, they have homes, they take care of families, but they don't go to a lot of events. They don't go to some of the events. Soccer is their phone. So that will be one way to get the internationals to feel like they're part of the city.
Good.
They own it, because this is something they connect with. So we'll bring him actually in the name of soccer, and hopefully they support their team in whatever, Mexican or Guatemalan or Turkish or German. Plus they support their local soccer team.
Do you hear this passion? Do you see this?
Oh, I love
this
it.
Got animated on this. God,
he's about to take his sport coat off.
He's like, I'm hot now. You got me talking about this stuff.
Question for both of you guys. And you're an outsider. Now you're an insider, but you at one point you're an outsider looking in. Both of you, do you feel like this was the response that you were going to get when a soccer team was going to come here? Did you feel that? I mean, you had a good idea of just from doing go-to-market research and things like that. But did you feel like it was going to be this big?
No, not at the beginning. But obviously, when you take a risk that you're going to be not sustainable financially for a while, you have to have a hope, right? Doesn't mean it's going to work or not. Because I think first time looking at soccer, I had no interest in, because I played it and I thought it was just really boring U.S. soccer until probably 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
Really I had
when we beat
some
Portugal
dialogue
in
with
the World
MLS
Cup.
back then, because and then I got a little more interested in it when Fox started soccer. I go, well, I don't know Mr. Rupert Murdoch, but he's no dummy. And he's not going to start a 24-hour soccer channel in the United States. Because for a while, I moved here in 1993. You know, you live and die soccer overseas. There's nothing to watch. Local media didn't cover. We didn't have Twitter and Facebook when I was here. Sounds crazy, but 2003, 4, 5, 6, when we're talking about it, this is when these social media come in. Before the internet, social media, we couldn't watch anything.
No, you had to rely on networks to get it
So,
done.
in very
You had to
limited
get like
event.
the back of the magazines, like the VHS tapes of like the best of so and so team.
Yeah,
so
oh,
it
you
gets
have
shipped
to-
to you and be like,
no-
oh,
nowhere
I'm
in
gonna
the
watch the
city-
best of Chelsea.
No one, in the city,
Yeah.
no one in the city shows soccer games. You know, even we used to go 34th and Moeller. Used to a place called Scotty's Bar.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's still there or not. We wouldn't touch anything, but we would pay, I think, $20
Wouldn't
with
touch anything.
15, 20 guys. And they had a satellite called Setenta that had European. And we'll pay
Giant
to-
satellite.
Yeah, turn into it. You have to buy into it. And he would actually do that. And so it's you couldn't watch any, there were no soccer bars. We're not
Watch
talking
some
about.
Galatasaray? Is that,
Well,
is
no,
that-
no games. You have no games you can watch unless once in a while you have a big game, maybe World Cup game.
Yeah.
And then now you go to steakhouses.
Yes.
You
and
know,
they're
they
playing
show
it.
soccer. I'm not talking about sports bars. I'm not talking about soccer bars. I'm talking about steakhouses, like more formal places that you go, there's some ESPN show or something like that.
It's a random Liga MX game. You're going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
How am I watching a Liga MX game
I went
here?
to
I'm talking
Giordano's.
about soccer channels. I'm
Yeah.
talking about
Right.
games.
Yeah. I went to Giordano's one night just to get pizza when the new one opened here.
Yep.
And two of the screens behind the bar had MLS games on.
That's,
Well, it's just
that's
like, it's just,
unbelievable.
okay, here it is. It's on ESPN. ESPN's on the screen.
Well,
Here
hey,
we go.
Which what
just,
you're talking
I gotta
about,
put a
Jeff.
plug in my day job that pays for the bills for the 11.
Uh-huh.
We're opening. We bought the building downtown in Illinois.
Is this an exclusive?
No, it's
Okay.
public, but it might be Market Illinois Street. It's an 11-story building.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
We gutted out a beautiful historic building called Illinois Building.
Which street?
Market and Illinois Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the southeast corner, right off the monument.
Yeah.
Giordano's is under construction. He's going to go take part
Well,
of the floor.
downtown Giordano's then.
Downtown Giordano's.
Uh-oh.
And a steakhouse.
Jeff's
high
loving
five.
this.
And a
Jeff's
luxury
loving
hotel.
this.
A lot of people love the Giordano's.
One of the things that you mentioned.
It's huge.
It's
huge.
One of the things you mentioned too, where you had a lot of those 18 to 34-year-olds that go to the game, and there is a ton of the younger crowd. I mean,
look, my kids, I take them there and they're
sure. But
all over photos.
one of the
Yep.
things that I think that helped a lot, and we actually had Bob Kravitz on the show to talk about it because he went to a game, and a guy who's very opinionated, very like either I like it or I don't,
and
it's one or the
hockey centric,
other.
very hockey centric, right?
Yeah, super hockey guy.
Yep.
So but the funny thing is that hockey guys usually gravitate towards soccer a little bit more anyway. With your experience so far, you have very young experience in this team and you owning the team, how many people have come to you to just say, I never even thought I would like soccer to begin with, but now I'm a season ticket holder. Or now I'm going to every game and I'm having my kids go to games and I'm having groups of work people go to games.
I want to give your feeling on this because when we talk about soccer, we talk about you being kind of new in this
Like how you-
organization. What's
Yeah, you
your
said you're
feeling?
not a soccer guy, but you are now.
Right. Well, I
obviously.
am, and of course I've been a fan, but
Sure.
but in terms of background, it's been motorsports. It hasn't been soccer.
Yeah.
But the reception has just been incredible. With much of my focus has been on sponsorships and sponsors and companies, and they just they want to be involved. They get it. They understand it from a workforce development perspective.
It's not a hard sell anymore.
It's not a hard sell, and they love the demographic of the association, both from a diversity perspective, from an age perspective. It's the millennials are in the workforce, and we also represent a lot of diversity in terms of international sport. It has been just incredible to see this and be a part of it.
One of we talked about you wanting to create a stadium, but there was a story mid-February about a developer that's wanting to develop a stadium out by the airport.
Oh yeah.
So you've heard about this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of impact, as Jeff laughs, because it's like, this is a sore subject, so I'm I'm
No,
not
no,
a
it's
massive.
It's not a
Okay.
source.
Okay.
I think they've changed the story's changed.
Okay.
If you pay, so they're not calling it soccer stadium anymore.
Right, but it basically is going to be a pro sports stadium. But the
Right.
original story was like, oh, Indy 11 could play here.
Of course, it was the original
Well-
story because it's Indy Star. I mean, but you don't have to say anything. I'm saying that.
No, guys. I mean,
These views are now held by
they're-
Ersal,
I mean,
Ozdemir, or Jeff.
that's what I'm saying. Nobody, we will get a stadium.
Right.
Nobody thinks we shouldn't. We've had
Where do you want
that
it?
proposal. We had one. There was a proposal in IBJ. Somebody sent me. They thought, are we part of it? Because somebody wanted the $11 billion downtown development show in the 11th Stadium, and we had it over northwest side. We had it by Marion University. We had it over
Right.
the east side, and we had it in the suburbs, and so everybody's kind of having it in there. And we appreciate that people are thinking, hey, if it's not going to be downtown, why don't you come here? So we're not saying no to any of those. We listen to a lot of them,
You
but
really
we
want
think
it
the right
downtown,
thing
though.
is that downtown, walkable, creating an economic impact.
I agree. I
We
couldn't
already
agree
have a
more.
lot invested downtown with the hotels and convention centers and bars and restaurants and mixed use, and also with our energy,
Yes.
we want able to go from bars
Yep.
to the game or vice versa. And the
Yep.
economic impact for the city and state
Yep.
is about $100 million on average outside the venue, because if you're able to go to the restaurants and bars and park and stay in hotels after that, and then go to the games and come back and spend more money, you're going to spend more money, create more benefit to people that actually make. If you just drive and park and then go to the game and leave, one, the experience is not the same. So that's the most important. Two, the economic impact you generate to the city and state is not as much because you're not spending, you're not creating more jobs outside the venue.
No, and you're right. And somebody who you've been here forever, and being an Indiana guy, and you've been here long enough where even 10.
Are you saying he's old? What does that mean for him?
Right,
No,
right.
I'm just
I'm
saying
not that old,
he's
am
an
I?
Indiana boy. No, I'm saying is that he's a Terre Haute-born Indiana boy, Indiana State. So as a Hoosier wise, there's a reason why they called Indianapolis Naptown, right?
I don't like that term, man.
No, but you're exactly right. But
But it's not that anymore.
it's all 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the environment that you talk about in downtown didn't exist, and the fact that more is coming down and the incredible increase of things to do and amazing restaurants and bar venues and places to go and things to see. You're exactly right. My vision, and we
Are
talked
you going
about
to go
this.
on a food tangent right now?
No, man, food. I'm just glad to have some
I'm with
diversity
you. I
of
mean,
food.
we invested downtown in
Yeah.
2003. Our
Yep.
first project downtown
Yep.
was Jillian's building.
Yeah.
Co-purchased that, developed that, built our condos, upstairs.
Yep.
Jillian's was still around.
Yeah.
How about the moon? We put him in there, and
Yeah.
Jillian's went out of business, which
Yeah.
sucked. But so
Yeah.
we sold the condo. So I moved my office from north side to downtown Majestic building. So
Yep.
2004, 2005. So I mean, we were there. Downtown was really
Right.
not there.
No, and so my vision, though, and the dream, if you will, as a fan, is you're exactly right. I want to see, because you've seen the. You've been out to the tailgates, right? You walked
No,
around the
I've
tailgates.
never been to the game. Of course,
No,
I've
no,
been to the
tailgate. No, to the tailgate.
Yeah,
Of
no,
course,
Well, no, I
every
know, I'm
game,
just saying,
every game.
I know. I'm
We've
just
got him on
kidding.
video.
That's my
Every
point.
game.
That's my
Playing
point.
cornhole.
Right. That's
Do
my
you go
point.
to the
Playing
games?
cornhole. Obviously, I'm the one who's recorded it. So, no. My point was, you've been out there. You see that's that size lot. But you're right. We're downtown, and we have that. I envision an entire group of people walking up a street chanting,
That's
giving
exactly
the Indy 11
right.
chance, right?
Like Seattle
With the
and
band,
Portland.
That's exactly right.
with our band playing as we walk into the stadium, because that's not unique to the world. That's unique here outside of major MLS cities.
That's exactly
where you
right.
walk in. That's such an incredible experience where you take your kid for the first time to that type of environment. You walk up together and you hear the band playing.
We're
You
gonna
and
do
you go,
that.
oh my God, that's something that's one of those core memories, right? It's stuck forever for your life. You go, that's what I love. And that's what drives new fans.
That's
so
exactly
I love
right.
that.
We're not going to not do without that.
Right.
We're going to be walking from places.
Yep.
If there isn't, we'll make sure there is things built.
Yep.
Even that experience will be even more amazing. But even a lot of people come to the games that if they're not into soccer, they see the whole atmosphere. They go, wow.
We got a lot of those people that were just like, "Hey, come to a game," and they're like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Listen,
Just come
It's
to a
$10.
game.
Come to a game.
I'll buy you a ticket. I don't care. Come to a
I got
game.
a guy I work with. Never watched soccer. His sister played soccer a little bit, so he's like, yeah, familiar with
That
it.
dude ended up going to the whole season.
He actually he went to all of the rest of the games the last season and is now a season ticket holder this season.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
good for
right?
us.
Because it's just like,
What's his name?
his name's Brandon.
Brandon, I love you, man. Thanks for your support.
But you have a lot of those people though
No
that
doubt.
will just come to it, and especially when they're sitting in the Brickyard Battalion section, because that's that experience, and you'll have
It's
to
insane.
obviously
It just
come over and
doesn't exist.
experience
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It
Right.
doesn't exist anywhere.
It doesn't exist.
Kravitz,
And we're going to do steal a parking lot with the new stadium.
Yeah.
We will have a parking lot. It might not be as big, but we have to have tailgate because part of the whole experience is right before game and after. It's about all
I
experience.
expect to see you, sir.
you need to
expect
be in,
to see you in the
I expect to
tailgate.
see you.
Hey,
Well, absolutely.
I just
We're gonna try to get a
little hint,
permanent
Jeff.
relegation flag.
I get
Hold on.
free food and drinks.
Listen,
I'm cheap, man. Free food and drinks. I
You
get a
guys-
lot of free stuff at the parking lot. So
we're gonna
tailgate.
try to get a flag. Here's what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to get a permanent relegation flag.
Yep.
Look for it at the tailgate. We're usually grilling out. My
Yep.
dad likes to do 4 minutes aside on a bar, and if it's not 4 minutes, he gets pissed off. But basically,
It's a sign
you,
off
you
rock.
come out. We'll get you some food. We'll get you some beer. Everything's gonna be great.
I'm
Well,
just
you can't
cheap,
drink
man.
on
Food
game
and
days.
drinks. I work for food and drinks.
yeah.
There you go. Right. So I'm gonna kind of let's
Yeah, we
kinda
can
tie
wrap
this up, and I just want last thing for you guys. What do you expect from the?
Wait, no,
wait,
I
go
had
ahead.
one
One
quick
question.
One quick
Okay.
question.
All right,
Sorry.
sir. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
So a lot of things have happened in terms of the supporter groups and just fans and things like that have been organic, that you couldn't really have planned support wise. What has been the most surprising thing to you from the past 2 years, or from you that you've learned so far, that has been like, this is now a staple that you couldn't have planned for when you started this team?
I think our guys have done an amazing job. So bring professional soccer, the Facebook, the Brickyard Battalion, some of the initial guys, right? So I knew about them before they knew, because they would send emails to the league when I was talking about bringing it in. They will actually, then commissioner, before our current commissioner, will actually forward to me.
Oh.
Saying, hey,
Do they know
guy-
this?
They knew the Facebook fan. I think they had a Facebook page.
Yeah. It was bring professional in
Then
soccer
I
to
had like
Indies.
8 people following it, or
Right.
hundreds something usually, but not a lot.
I was one of them.
So
Yes,
not
yes.
a lot,
But like
that was
Josh
a-
Mason and Gabe
Josh
Peters
Mason,
and those
Gabriel.
guys.
So they will literally. I still have him forward emails. At that time, our commissioner was a different person, formerly ESPN guy, and then he will forward say, "Hey, there's all these guys." So he was trying to show him that there is support in town, because I was trying to figure out, how much support out there. So when I brought Peter as more talking about it than as a consultant, I actually forward those emails to him, say, hey, reach out to these guys, because there are these guys. So it's kind of, we knew some of these guys before in there, but I had no idea that this will grow. I mean, I don't know if you looked at it. I didn't even have Twitter until in 11.
Uh-huh.
But we have as much, or just very close as Chicago Fire.
Yep.
They're Section 8 Twitter followers, like a few hundred less.
Yep.
And we have more than the Columbus Crew's main fans. I mean,
Yes.
they've been around this since 1996.
Yep.
Right? So our guys, Peter and Tom and everybody else, done an amazing job.
Yep.
Let this really organically grow.
Yep.
And Tom is the expert on really he was with Section 8 with Chicago, right?
Yep.
So he actually gets that. He loves it. He's not just doing it because he's his job, but he actually is part of it. He's like a quasi, member of it. So
I mean, they did a story on him. They did like an actual story on him, and Tom Dunmore is in this like newspaper story of like a Chicago Fire super fan or something like that. And here's Tom just standing there, and they're talking to him, and now he's one of the guys.
It's different than you get somebody that does the job, but it's something that actually lives it, right? So
Right.
he doesn't. His connection, the feedback is very important.
Yep.
That will be my question. You guys never asked me, do I have any question? But I'm going to ask him.
Oh, you're
We
fine.
want to get an idea. He goes, what is it that you guys want to see this year that going forward?
Wait a minute. That's not how this works. No, it's good. All right. So
Probably the first guest. Honestly,
no.
the first guest to ever ask us questions.
okay.
I
So
mean, you
You go
representing
first.
the
No, okay.
fans.
all right. So what do we want to see this season outside of success?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
I already said that.
Oh, well,
But
but
stay with the program, man. Come
No,
on, we only got so much
I
time.
gotta answer that.
okay.
So one of the things that, and this is no knock on you, but one of the things that was very good in the last 2 years, especially that Peter Wilt really kind of spearheaded, was the organic media. And obviously being a podcast, we're really, reliant on having access, being able to, tell the real story that some of these mainstream media folks don't get to tell.
Of course.
Like Wish TV, WTHR, fantastic channels, and we've had Chuck Lofton on and things like that. But they didn't really catch on until things started getting popular, until there was 6 or 7 straight games of 10, 11,000 people.
Right.
IndyStar was there, and I worked for IndyStar when I first. That's how I met Peter Wilt. Is I was working for IndyStar, and I tried to sell him advertisement for the team before it even started. Yeah, I know. I quit that job pretty quick. But anyway, I know it's okay. Yeah, it's all right.
All right.
We've talked a lot about IndyStar a lot. It's that organic media and the coverage. Bloody Shambles. Some of the guys
What's your question?
No, it wasn't a question.
Oh
It's an
no,
answer.
what's your?
Oh no, it's just keeping that organic feel of being able to cover the team and have access that most mainstream media would get, but because we're telling the real story and most people are listening, looking to us. We weren't on the air for 6 months, and people were tweeting and emailing us saying, "When are you going to be back on again?" Because we want to know what's going on with the team, what's happening with the players, what's happening with this, because it's not going to be covered anywhere else until the season starts again.
So,
And from my end,
why are we here? That's
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that's why in your first show we want to be here, both of us, to show that that's not going to change, because that's the lifeblood of the show.
Right.
I would say 2 things. If I were to say, you say, Jeff, what you think? One, we want to make sure that obviously without this soul, this organic growth, you guys like Bloody Shambles. I just saw today he put this video, amazing.
fantastic
I didn't even
video.
get a
Yeah, I
chance.
saw
I
the
was
video as
meetings
well.
all day.
Fantastic
So
video.
I was gonna send him a tweet back because it's just amazing. So, one, obviously, we want this soul to continue. 2, personally, I would love to see guys like you, selfishly, you and Bloody's others grow as either the blog or podcast or so to become a national icons. So we want to help.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, but because you got to start. We want to support this so you can go build your fan base and grow. And why not have one of the most premier either podcasts or blogs? Person lives here, happens to be here. They go, how the hell do you happen to be from Indianapolis in 10 years? They go, well, because I started with this and I grew up and becomes, somebody wants to be interviewing somebody. They call that person interviewed in other cities. So we want to help
Kind of likes
get
us.
organic growth. Yeah,
Kind of likes
Well,
us.
I think
I'm not sure.
Aw.
it also shows. I mean, I think one of the things that we have been thankful for, and we do this.
Can I answer my part of the question?
Sorry, real quick.
Okay.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
get
I didn't the answer.
sentimental here.
All
I'm
right.
gonna do the sentimental
Aw.
Andy thing here.
All right, do your thing.
It's okay. Yeah. I'll be right.
give him.
I think one of the things is we did this podcast our first episode was just us dicking around during March Madness, talking
Ouch.
about.
Is this
Tom-
PG-13?
Yeah, no. This is definitely not.
PG-13.
Yeah.
It's
So
PG.
we were
13.
just screwing around watching basketball, thinking people would like to hear us have. We've been best friends for who knows how long.
We have very, very bizarre conversations.
Yeah. And so somebody was like, "You should record it." And then once we started getting involved with the team, the access and some of the respect that we've gotten from team and fans and seeing other people sprout up and ask us questions on how do I do a podcast? How do I do this? How do I do that?
Well, to the point we're not even a podcast, though. We're a full multimedia.
Yeah, we're
We
doing
do
pictures now. We're doing GoPro
so
videos. Things
I have
like that.
tons about having the field access, the type of it got me more back into photography to the point where I was able to produce a lot of photos last year.
Same thing with
that
video
were really
editing.
great and video editing that we put out and that we're live on YouTube. We're not to your point a podcast anymore. We're a multimedia type deal, which is amazing. And to what you're saying on there, I can't agree anymore because the amount of access you guys have given us, and we talk about that grassroots. Is unreal.
Like
the
you're going
fact
to
that
get
you're
a
sitting
one-on-one
here.
interview with a
You
player that
guys-
you guys are just drinking beer, hanging out at a bar, just shooting the shit about
Yeah,
soccer.
guys, as long as we can, is that we control that, right? The leagues don't change and stuff.
Yep.
That's never going to change. That's why
Right.
the
That's
president,
why we're
the
here.
owner of
The
Yeah.
owner, the president.
Yeah.
We're here.
Tuesday night, I have 4 kids under 5.
No,
And I'm here. I haven't had dinner. So
maybe.
What? They have food here. You can order
Dude,
stuff.
my wife has dinner. I gotta
Oh,
go home.
all right. Well,
No,
that's
you
what we're
answer
gonna
your
get.
question.
All right.
Answer the question.
All I want to see is, I want to see a team that's put together, and we talked about it earlier with the chemistry. I want to see camaraderie. I want to see a group of guys that play a beautiful style of football. I want to see a product on the field that when I look at it sets us apart from the NASL, whether that it has a little bit of swag, if you will, a confidence, but I want to see just beautiful play, something different, guys that get each other. That's for me. I think there's times where it's easy in American soccer. You talked about it can get a little boring, it can get a little whatever. I want to see guys that they click, and we put something out where people go, have you seen Indy 11 play? Oh my God, these guys do some things like, oh, so that's for me. That's what I want to see.
What do you guys hope for this year?
That's it. And we'll leave it to that.
We'll leave it at that. What do you
That's
guys?
a
What are
final
your
question.
guys' hopes
I'm
for
gonna
this
start with
year?
I'm gonna start with you.
The same things. You know,
Ditto.
We want to see a team that's beautiful to watch. It's a great on-field product, and that will be enjoyable to watch.
Okay.
And that would be a great thing. And you know, that's we hope to continue to build the fan base and continue to make progress on the stadium. I mean, those are all, we've made fabulous progress, or Saul's made fabulous progress. It's going to continue to come.
Yep.
So.
Okay. And that's what I think.
Well, obviously, this is my passion, and as long as the city, you guys, fans, want to support your team, we're going to be doing this. It makes it, we want to win. Losing financially is not a great thing. Like, it never sucks. But
Right.
what's worse is that I don't want to be in a position that fans don't want this. Then it doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
So why would you lose money in knowing the people do? So as long as people are passionate about this, if I gotta go sell water and get another 5th job after my 3 jobs,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. So it's important to make sure that we have a product that represents the city well in the country, even internationally. When we have foreign teams in town, we want to have a product that is actually we're proud of it. And, we want to make this, the fans proud of basically their team. And we want to feel that we have a cause that we're all fighting for. And we'll get there. But as long as the fans are there to support, to show up, if they don't, and then, it's a different story. But as long as they're there to support basically the team, and, we're going to fight as much as we can.
So I want to make a commitment to you. And not to step out of line as long as I have a commitment back.
You're in the zone right now.
No, my commitment to you is that we will continue to handle your players with the kind of the grace and the levity, that we deal with.
We
on
want to
a-
make them. We still want to show that
we
they're
want
real
them to know
people.
that the people here in Indy love them and
That's
love the
right.
organization, and we will do everything in our power to bring on new people, as we've talked about. That's our commitment to you. That's the only thing we can do, right?
Awesome.
Is as season ticket holders is to continue to press the brand. The only commitment I ask of you is to put, and I think, and I believe it wholeheartedly with everything you guys are talking about, is to put that amazing product on the field and give us something that week after week, whether win or loss, that's important.
That's right.
But that it's a passion that's played on the field. If you get the L because you were just outplayed, it was a better team, but you put every ounce of passion and everything you had on there, it's all I ask is that we have
That's
a group
right.
that has the passion on the field. That's the only commitment I ask from myself. That's my only thing.
That's why I said a team that's fun
Yes.
to watch. It's-
Exactly.
Guys,
Exactly.
It'll be enjoyable.
Guys,
Win or lose.
But we're looking forward to seeing you guys at the game. You guys are also very accessible as well through social media.
It only took me 3 years to get on the show. Yes.
Ersal, you can reach him on Twitter at Ersal Ozdemir. Jeff, you created your own Indy 11.
I love it.
So at Indy 11_Jeff is Jeff Belskus' Twitter
My name
account.
is Jeff. Right.
El
Right.
Jeff.
Right.
He's got a nickname already, El Jeff.
Yeah.
El
Jefe.
I'm sure you're going to see a chant regarding El Jefe at some point.
It's actually really cool.
It is.
Speaking of chants, if you haven't got the chants down, there's going to be a recording of some of the chants for some new people that are at sitting in the BYB section this year. So those will be available online in probably this week. Towards the end of the week, they're going to do a recording of some
We
of the
expect
chants.
you to memorize them.
On our website? Do we have a link to those chants on our website?
I don't know if you guys have a link for chants. On the Brickyard Battalion, there's a link for
I
chants.
wonder, why not we
Probably
have a
give
link
Kaluta
to
or something, right?
We'll get Cluter on it.
since he's in vacation or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Tell him
Working.
He's busy trying not to get
SPF 55 /
Yes.
get those on the
trying to not get
website.
skin cancer in Arizona.
He's probably gonna white out. He's gonna Photoshop the pictures.
Right.
Right.
You can listen to this show every other week on iTunes,
iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube. Go
Exactly.
check us out. Hit us up on Twitter at PR Podcast Show, Facebook. Like us on there, and obviously Chatham Tap Fishers. Thank you again for your amazing hospitality and allowing us to do this train wreck of a show every time we come up here.
They'll have more Indy 11 watch parties here. I don't know if
Yes.
you come here for a watch
I
party on
have.
a away
Yes.
game.
Every time I've been here,
Yep.
we won away games.
Yes.
Oh, then
Yep.
you need to watch it here every time then.
I can't come here every
You
time.
can't go to
No,
Sophia
because
Square and watch it in the lobby.
No, I go to
You
the
gotta
games.
come
Some
here.
goes to games. I go.
He is a family man, sir.
I
Anyways,
have watched the game in the
I don't want to hear it. You don't
Square
have 4
lobby
children.
with Ersal,
Yes. Yeah.
who got so angry at some of the things that was
I
going
don't know
on.
what you're talking about.
No. What do you mean? He's so mild-mannered, not
It's
passionate
great,
about
it's
anything.
great to watch a game with Ersal.
All right. Well, anyways, welcome officially
you.
from us.
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome
Yes.
officially.
Thanks
sir.
for coming on the show,
Gentlemen,
finally.
Gentlemen, you
I'm
guys
sure
are
it's
amazing, and thank you for your time. And please,
You guys
here's
can hang
to-
out afterwards.
here's
We'll
to an
have
amazing
another beer.
season. Here's to an amazing
Cheers.
season. gentlemen.
Cheers.
All right, we're out.
I'm empty on you another one.
Yep, up. Hala Madrid.
If I get
Glory,
pulled over,
glory.
I'm sending
You're
you
not
the
allowed.
news.
I'm allowed to now. That's a new season. Glory, glory, Man United.